Good evening to everyone. Forgive me, I cannot share my video due to my bandwidth, but we are gathered here to listen to a phenomenal speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I will introduce the person who will be moderating this meeting. She is the person of Perpetua Adobia Brichum. She says that she loves to talk, write, and read. No wonder she's a Toastmaster. She is the lead quality assurance and engineer and assistant product manager at Pessoa Africa Finance, a fintech focused on building loans management solutions. She is the program evangelist executive for Women Who Code Accra. Currently, she is the vice president education of Fidelity Corporate Toastmasters Club of Area 37, Division G. Perpetua enjoys the company of family and friends and is married to a stalwart man who is also a Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, with a virtual round of applause, if you can unmute, please let us clap for Perpetua Adobia Brichum, who will be moderating this session. Thank you.
Woo!
Perpetua, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, PQD for Division G Toastmaster Adjoa Odu. Good evening to everyone. I'm super excited to be here this evening moderating our after work session. Wow. Our topic is what I'm really very much interested in. I believe most of us joined Toastmasters for one reason or the other. So a very warm welcome to all of us, our guests, and members of Toastmasters. I believe that this evening we are going to learn a thing or two. Our topic, overcoming one's fear of public speaking. I remember listening to one resource person, Jim Quick, maybe some of us know him, and he said he thinks where people got the fear of public speaking is probably from those times in primary school when a book will be passed around and you'll be asked to read, and everyone in class will just be waiting to hear you speak. As to whether that is true, I do not know. But one thing I know for sure is that communication is key, and public speaking also very necessary. And that is why we have all gathered tonight to know something about how we can overcome the fear of public speaking. I'm excited to moderate this session. We have a very experienced speaker who will be taking us through this presentation. And our speaker is a distinguished Toastmaster. She is in the person of distinguished Toastmaster Chidi James Chukwudi Madu. Chidi is a strategically minded financial professional with over a decade's experience with proven expertise in performance and people management. She is a chartered banker and professional Scrum Master. She joined Toastmasters in 2016 as a chartered member of AWN Toastmasters. She's held several leadership roles, two-time past president, past Area 16 director. She has also been the immediate past Division F director, club coach, and many others. Currently, she is the club secretary and treasurer of AWN Toastmasters. She also is the district club extension chair. She's had many educational achievements as being a member of Toastmasters, and one that stands out for me is the fact that she is double distinguished Toastmaster for both the traditional path and now the pathways that we have. She has had many awards like the multiple Triple Crown Award recipients and Silver Crown Award. Some of her extracurricular activities are reading and volunteering. Her hobbies, dancing, tennis, and taekwondo. I believe you teach me one thing or two from your hobbies. I'm really enjoying what I have about you. And her mantra is Kaizen, continuous improvement. With a virtual round of applause, Toastmasters and our guests, let us welcome to the virtual stage distinguished Toastmaster Chidi Chukwudi Madu, who will be presenting on the topic overcoming one's fear of public speaking. Distinguished Toastmaster Chidi, over to you.
Thank you most graciously for the warmth of your introduction, Toastmaster Perpetual. Hello, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. If you're excited to be here today, can I see you give me a thumbs up? Thumbs up if you're excited to be here. Nobody's excited. Wow. Okay, yeah, some people are. All right, so let's take this a step further. If you're excited to be here, can I have your videos on? Because I want us to discuss. It's not, you're not going to have me just talk all through this evening. We're going to have a chat. It's going to be very engaging. Can I please have your videos on? I'm going to start calling names. I know some people here who, I'm sure if I call your name, you don't have a choice. You have to put your video on. So please don't make me call you before your videos come on, because I really want us to chat. I don't want to just look at some people. Yeah, you have very charming pictures, but I would rather see the real life person. Let's see those very beautiful ladies and dashing young men. All right, Toastmaster Josephine, Toastmaster Wale, can your videos come on? Toastmaster Isaac, can your videos come on? Toastmaster Ayodele.
I'm sorry, I'm not video ready.
Don't tell me sorry. Don't tell me sorry. I know your house is. That's why I'm calling you people. I can just come to your house now, and I'll sit down with you. And we'll do this engagement together. All right. So we're discussing about how to overcome the fear of public speaking, and I'm sure you agree with me that fear of public speaking is something that practically everyone wants to deal with. Most persons want to be spectacular speakers. We join Toastmasters because we want to be able to communicate to people. There's something I've learned in my journey in Toastmasters is there are talkers and there are communicators. You might be able to talk, just engage people, talk, but when someone who communicates stands beside you, the talker suddenly appears to be a joker. And overcoming the fear of public speaking is sincerely a very common goal for many individuals. So many people really want to overcome that challenge. Some of us are good when we're engaging one or two people, but when you bring in the third, fourth, fifth person, it becomes a challenge. And in Toastmasters, I know we discuss about this. This is perhaps one of the top trending topics in Toastmasters. But there's a very, well, this is my point of view. I think there's a very easy way of dealing with this. And it's something that Toastmasters has offered us, but very few people take advantage of it. Table topics. Table topics. Because you see, table topics helps you to develop certain skills, not just speaking. It helps you develop certain skills. Why? Because you get a question that you probably, I'm sure in some clubs, you get to volunteer before you even hear the question. If the table topics master is in a very good mood, he or she gives you the topic and then gets someone to volunteer. But irrespective of how it's arranged, whether the topic comes first or the voluntary comes first, the truth of the matter is when you participate in table topics, you're able to exercise your public speaking muscles. You think, you arrange your speech, and then you speak. Something that table topics does is it helps you develop that skill of being able to deal with the fear of public speaking, because anybody who is able to themed table topics and survive it has taken a step closer to overcoming the fear of public speaking. Table topics is what, 2 minutes. And the way I say it is as simple as replicating that 2 minute experience over and over and over. So if I have to speak for 20 minutes, I have to just do what? Replicate my table topics experience. 2 minutes in 10 places. Those of you who are mathematicians know that 2 times 10 is what? It's 20. That's one way of dealing with the fear of public speaking. But most people shy away from table topics. Most people do not want to participate in table topics. Most people would rather not be called on to participate in table topics. I'm going to call 2 people here to share their experience of table topics with me. And I'm calling these 2 persons because I've been in meetings, several Toastmasters meetings with them. And when you ask for a table topics volunteer, they're always one of the first 2 people that will put their hands up to attempt a table topics question. When they share their experience, then I will share some pointers on how we can actually then, in addition to table topics, how we can deal with this fear. I want Toastmaster Josephine Agolo. Can you, in 2 minutes, just share your table topics experience with us? The first time you ever attempted table topics, how did it feel? And now, because I know you're always volunteering to attempt table topics, tell us how it felt the first time and what has kept you going back for it. Why do you always volunteer to participate in a table topic session?
Jolly good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you very much, DTM Chidi Chukudi Madu, for putting me on the chopping board. All right. The first time I took table topics, because I realized that it will actually help me to deal with the fear of public speaking. So I decided to take it up. The first time, it was really terrible. My chest was pounding as if they were pounded yam on my chest. It was racing as if I was running 1,000 kilometer race. I couldn't hold my breath. I was sweating from ear to ear. It was quite, I don't know the words to use now. But I told myself that, babe, you just have to keep doing this. If you don't keep doing this, this is what we keep facing all the time. So whenever I have the opportunity to take table topics, if I'm not playing a role, because actually table topics is for members who are on the call who do not have speaking roles. So whenever I have the opportunity to speak, if I don't have a speaking role, I just take it up. And I'm aware that there is no wrong or right answers to table topics. You just open your mouth and speak, and you see yourself actually improving your thinking skills, ability to actually do presentation, ability to, you just keep seeing yourself improving. It will definitely not go because we don't know the questions, but I think that as I kept doing it, I kept feeling that I should keep doing it. The fear is going little by little. Thank you. I hope that answers your question. DTM, DCC is back to you.
Thank you most graciously, Toastmaster Josephine. If you listen to her, you will understand that table topics does help you get better. And if there's something I've picked from her response, I don't know if any other person picked it, is the fact that she embraced her fear. she came to terms with it, embraced it, and understood that if she has to overcome that fear, the one thing she needs to do is what? Repeat the action that would help her overcome the fear. Repeat the action that will help her overcome the fear. I want Toastmaster Chooks. Well, Francis Mukolo, I'm sure that's the name a lot of people know you by. Let's go. Toastmaster Francis, can you in 2 minutes just share your experience with us on table topics? What was your first encounter with those table topics is, and how have you over time come to enjoy it? So, Mr. Francis? Yeah. Typically, if this was a full-blown Toastmasters meeting, you know what would have happened? Like, oh, table topic segment, and the person is taking off. So, Mr. Francis, I hope it's not a network issue. Because if you were shy of a table topic session, then I probably would say, oh yeah, you've disappeared. But I know that you usually would not run away from a table topic section. But let's keep moving, and I will come back to him when he's able to unmute himself and speak. All right. How do you overcome your fear of public speaking? I think the first thing is to understand what the fear is. You need to know what the fear is. Yes. You can't deal with what you don't know. You have to know what it is. You actually have to acknowledge it, own it. If you live in denial, then you'll never be able to own that fear. And if you do not own the fear, then you'll never be able to know what to do to deal with it. It's like someone who wants a promotion at work. You need to know that you want that promotion before you then begin to itemize, what do I need to do to gain it? So when you understand and you recognize your fear of public speaking, then you can begin to outline what you need to do, what actions you need to do to deal with it. Something I want us to understand is there is nothing wrong in being afraid, because fear is a natural occurrence. It's natural, completely natural. Because when you fear something, it shows your human need for preservation. Because the truth is, if we don't have fear, we'll probably go walk on water or run into a fire, walk on hot coal. But because you know that if I do this, it would hurt, and you're scared, you actually fear that pain. That fear is what stops you from doing those things that you know will hurt you. So if somebody tells you, why are you afraid? Do not be shy to own it and say it's a natural occurrence. Fear itself is not the issue. The issue is when you let it paralyze you, when you let it hold you down, and when you let it stop you from growing. So first, understand your fear, recognize it, own it. And when you understand it and what causes it, then you can begin to address it more effectively. The second thing I think we need to bear in mind is the fact that you need to prepare, especially when it has to do with public speaking. Because in public speaking, you're talking to people from diverse backgrounds. Diverse background. You actually do not know what they know or what they don't know. So you do not want to go out there speaking to people and not making sense to them. You do not want to go out there unprepared without your facts. And then you go out there and you tell people. And when you're speaking to them, you're passing the wrong message. And in this world, the digital age, it's very easy for people to go to their devices and try to validate whatever you're telling them. There's a world of difference between a prepared speaker and an unprepared speaker. You see, an unprepared speaker walks before people and you look from left to right, you look up and down, and you feel as though everybody looking at you, watching you, are judging you. You feel like they could see through you to know that she's not prepared. He is not prepared. You take one step and your heart is pounding because you think people know that you are not prepared. But a speaker who's prepared walks up to the stage with confidence, engages his or her audience, and even when he makes a mistake, you would not even realize that he has made a mistake because he just goes on. You know why? Because he or she understands that in that moment, the speaker is in control. The speaker is in charge. If I speak to you and I'm prepared, even when I make a mistake, it's all part of the speech. Unless I tell you, oh, that was a mistake right there, you will not know why, because I was prepared. But if I was not, even the things I know, I would most likely do or forget them. Because I have zero data to back up whatever I'm saying. I've not made my research. I'm speaking about a topic that I think I know a lot about. And then I realized that after I've spoken for maybe 5-10 minutes, my brain is empty. I'm unable to put my thoughts together. I'm unable to speak in a coherent manner. I'm unable to convey my message to my audience. But when you take your time to prepare, you research your topic, you have notes, you have an outline, and you have a flow to your message, to your speech. The flow that makes sense, that has a sync and it has a rhythm to it. So you're not jumping from A to D, D to G, G to B. It's a smooth flow from A, B, C. And then when you speak to people and they listen to you, they would want to hear you speak again. Why? Because you have practiced, you've prepared, you've practiced, and you are ready. And the thing about practice, you need to do it repeatedly. You need to do it to a point where you could actually, you know when I say recite, actually recite your speech word for word. But you're not cramming it. You're practicing. So you go over and over and over until you're very familiar with it. So familiar that you can readily tell the first paragraph or the third paragraph of the page 2 of your material. You are that familiar with your material. And you know when you're that familiar, there's a level of ease and comfort that you have within yourself because what? You know you're going to be speaking on something that you have put in so much effort to. And you are not scared of whatever the outcome is going to be. It helps you develop the confidence that you need to address your audience. There's something that I've learned in my years in Toastmasters, and it's about the concept of visualization. It's see what you want to achieve before you even begin to speak to people. If my message to you today is the theme, overcoming the fear of public speaking, and what I want is for everyone on this call to develop an extra level of confidence, understanding that they now know how to deal with that fear. If I'm able to visualize that before I even start speaking, then I will speak to achieve my vision. Why? Because I have seen it. Does anybody here follow combat sport? Does anybody here follow the UFC or MMA? Anyone on this call? If you do, can you just indicate? Give me a thumbs up or raise your hand. I just want to have an idea. Someone. Anybody? No. Does anybody watch tennis? Do you watch tennis? Anybody? Does anybody follow tennis? Great. Perpetual does. All right. So what do you follow? Football? I know if I ask about football, yeah, a lot of people are going to put their hands up. Okay, so who follows football here? Nobody. Hey, there's trouble. Oh. Okay, so what sports do you follow? What sports do you follow? Let me hear from you. What sports do you follow?
I follow football. I raise up my hand.
Oh, great. Football. Awesome. All right. Who else follows football? Wale follows football. Perpetual follows tennis. Doesn't mean the rest of, okay. Hey, there's trouble. All right. So you follow what? Soap opera. Marvin says follows Hilda.
Nobody say you follow Hilda.
Right. Thank you. That's fantastic. Let's use Marvin. That's a very good one. Let's use Hilda. Who knows Hilda? Who knows Hilda? I'm sure we must have heard of her. I mean, in the sports space, she's probably been the trendy topic on social media.
That's the trending topic now.
Yeah. So who knows about the Nigerian young lady who attempted and has broken the Guinness World Record for the longest cooking period or cooking hours? Oh, God have mercy. Wait, is it Toastmasters that has made us antisocial or what? I don't want to believe it is. There are almost 30 people on this call, but there are only like 3 people that seem to be following. So only 3 people are following social media. 1 person is following tennis. 2 people following football. Wow. This is serious. Wait, are we being serious? Is this a setup? Did you people just wake up this morning and say, we'll deal with her today? You've been waiting for me. You want to deal with me today? Like, what's going on? I actually want to understand, what do you enjoy? Wrestling. Dr. Loretta, you're my kind of person. Wrestling. Nice. Good. You see, the reason why I'm asking is because I wanted to use somebody in the UFC to make an illustration. Does anybody here know this young man, Adesanya?
Yeah, kickboxing, combat colleges.
Yeah, UFC, Adesanya. He's currently the middleweight UFC champion.
Just won back the belt, yes. He just won the belt back a few weeks ago.
Right. There's something about him that I've noticed it. His name is Israel Adesanya. You can go Google about him. There's something he does before each fight. So about maybe an hour or 2 hours to his fight, he goes into the ring, he goes into the octagon, and he does his visualization ritual. Like, he goes in there, goes to his corner, he squats for some minutes, and then he goes round that octagon, almost like he's stamping his ownership of it, his authority on it. He's basically seeing what he wants to achieve at the end of his 3-round or 5-round bout. He's one of the UFC fighters that does that, and he does it well. And you know what happens? When he comes back for the fight, he's not walking into that ring as someone who, I have to go and fight. He's walking in there like a lion before its pride. He's walking in there like, this is my yard. I own this place. And anyone who steps into this octagon to challenge me is in for it. It's like, you know what happens when you go to a landlord's house to fight him? You're in trouble. The landlord, his wife, his children, his people, they will beat you. And when you take the matter to court, you also face the wrath of law. Why? Because it's like you go to someone's house to fight that person, something you don't do. So if you're able to visualize what you want to achieve at the end of every presentation, then you've taken yourself one step closer to actually achieving it. And what visualization does for you is you're seeing yourself achieve a level of success. And then you work to actually own that success. Why? Because you've seen it. You've visualized it, you've seen it. All you need to do is what? Stretch out and take it. And one way you can do this is just before you walk before your audience to speak. It's just a moment, and you can close your eyes, have a quiet time, and just see yourself speaking with eloquence, conveying your message with passion, being able to own your stage and command the attention that you desire from your audience. If you're able to see that, then you're there. We've spoken about 3 things: recognizing and owning your fear, prepare and practice, and then visualize your success. The 4th thing that I want us to know is this. It said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So start small. Start small. Every spectacular speaker you see today started from somewhere. They did not just become it overnight. There's nothing like an overnight sensation in public speaking. If you speak, let's even bring Toastmasters, if you speak to any of the persons who have won the coveted title of the World Championship Public Speaking, ask them, let them tell you their story, walk you through their journey, and then you understand that they did not get to that point overnight. Hey, bring it home to your club. Speak to your club champion of any context and let that person tell you how he or she started. Talk to your area champion, your division champion, and you understand that it's a step at a time. A step at a time. When you're walking, it's one step in front of the other. But when you do it continually and consistently, you find out that you get better each day. You see, Toastmasters contest is one way that you can elevate your public speaking skills. How? Because you've taken time, you've prepared. You see, when you do regular speeches, you're speaking at a certain level. You're there, you're comfortable with that level. But when it comes to a speech contest, it's not just about you. It's about the fact that there are other people who are at different other levels being placed on one level with you. Now you have to do extra to sell yourself. And that extra, no matter how little it is, propels you from point A to point B. And those kind of steps are the steps that you need to begin to take. So start small, do table topics, do a prepared speech, and take up that challenge of participating in a contest. Because the beautiful thing about a contest is it's not about who takes the gold, first, second, third. That's secondary. It's about the fact that you're able to put in the skills that you've gained from all the other things, the prepared speeches, the table topics, the role that you play at club meetings and outside of club meetings. You put them and you do what? You share them with people. It helps you get better. You need to be able to connect with your audience. And connecting with your audience, it's not like you have to do anything extra, anything now. I have connected with my audience today. I've asked questions. I've gotten feedback. What does that tell you? What does that help you do? So I've had people give feedback when I ask a question on who follows this, who follows that. For those who did not give feedback, I mean, it will make you probably think, okay, so what do I enjoy doing? What do I am communicating with my audience. And you can do this in several ways. So you identify something that works, and you start out with that. You do it first time, you do it second time, before you then begin to look for, okay, how else can I introduce this when I'm speaking with people? And the one, maybe the best thing is feedback. Feedback. Seek feedback from people. Whether you're giving a prepared speech or not. There's something I do that has helped me over time. Even if it's a role I'm playing, I'm the timer in a club. I will ask someone to evaluate my performance. I know I will get feedback from the general evaluator, but I will ask someone in that club meeting to please give me feedback on my performance. You know why? Because feedback helps you do better. In Toastmasters, we say the feedback is the breakfast of champions. I have a friend who always says it's not just the breakfast. It's the breakfast, it's the lunch, it's the dinner, it's the dessert. Everything of champions. Because one way to be better is to get feedback, constructive feedback that will then do what? Help you understand your glow and your grow points. Your glow points are the things that you've done well. Your grow points are areas that you need to improve on. When you know the areas you have to improve on, you begin to work on them to get better at them. While you consistently continue to elevate your glow points. So you're not neglecting them. You keep glowing and you're moving your grow points to your glow points. If we have to speak about how to overcome the fear of public speaking, we'll probably spend hours here because there are a lot of things that we can do. But the one thing that can start you out on that, seek opportunities to speak at your club meetings, visit other clubs, play roles. Because when you play a role, you know you have to speak when you give your feedback. And something that you need to begin to do is treat your role report as a speech. So if you're playing the role of a timer or an act, let's even use our counter. Most times you hear people say, oh, our counter reports. Toastmaster Chidi, 2 arms. Toastmaster Josephine, 3 arms. Toastmaster Ni, 1 arm. Have you passed your message? Yes, but you're not helping yourself. But if you treat it as a speech, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, as the accountant, I have kept track on our use of pause feelers. It might interest you, Mr. General Evaluator, to know that most Toastmasters who spoke in today's meeting have achieved and perfected the ability to speak without using pause feelers. However, I noticed or recorded some Toastmasters who used pause feelers. I've recorded that Toastmaster XYZ, while he was presenting his prepared speech or presenting table topics, or while presenting his reports, introduce the pause feeler or a long silence or You know, when you do it that way, I'm giving the same reports, but I basically have introduced a structure. So I have an opening, a body, and I will conclude. That's what, it's a speech in maybe 1 minute. If you keep at that, when it gets to the time for table topics and you're called on, you will not shy away from it. Instead, you'll be able to give a speech that is, you'll be able to pass your message, you'll be able to put your thoughts together and present a constructive speech. So fellow Toastmasters, own that fear, know it's natural, prepare and practice before you face an audience. Visualize your success. Seek out opportunities to speak. Connect with your audience. And above all, seek feedback for every presentation you do. This and more are things that will help you overcome that fear of public speaking. And we're all in Toastmasters anyways. Toastmasters, positive environment. You practice and practice and practice. Zero judgment, zero criticism. You know you get constructive feedback. So why not leverage? Why don't shy away from it? Own it, go for it. And you'll be a spectacular speaker that would be able to command the attention of an audience way beyond your imagination. Thank you for being here this evening, and thank you for the opportunity to have shared my tiny little experience with you. I appreciate it. I certainly do not take it for granted. For me, this is rehearsal, a training platform for me, right? So this is me also sort of practicing what I'm preaching this evening. Because it's when you practice and you take every opportunity you have to do what? Practice and present. Then you grow. So thank you.
Mommy.
And oh yeah, I can see you on my screen now. Toastmaster Perpetual moderator. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, DTM Chidi Chikudi Madu. I believe that we have all learned a lot. One of the things that stuck out for me is there is a world of difference between a prepared speaker and an unprepared speaker. Once you prepare, you know that whatever information you are giving to your audience, they can connect, and you are sure of yourself and very confident in whatever you are saying. And today also I've learned that there's a difference between talking and communicating. I've always said that I like to talk. I think I'm going to change that to I like to communicate, knowing that when there's a communicator and a talker will end up being a joker. And the communicator will end up sending some kind of valid information to his or her audience. Thank you so much once again for sharing with us the need for us to take opportunities, the need for us to own the fear that we have of public speaking, and also to prepare, starting small, even sometimes with table topic session. I believe we've all learned a lot. At this point in time, we are going to open the floor for questions. If there is anyone who has a question, you can just drop it in the chat, or you can go ahead and use the virtual hand raising icon so that we can allow you to ask your question. We have DTM on, she can answer the question for you. You're just going to allow room about 5 minutes. That's if we have questions from anyone, please feel free to drop it in the chat or go ahead to use the virtual hand raising icon. I'll just mention your name and then we'll allow you to flow with your question. Do we have anyone who has any question? This is also another table topic session for someone, I believe. Today we're overcoming our fear of public speaking. So this is a very good time. If you have any question at all, just go ahead, drop it in the chat. If you're unable to unmute yourself, if not, you can just go ahead, raise your virtual hand, and then we'll call you to ask your question. All right. Just before I hand over, I'd like to ask you, DTM Chidi. So if I have an audience that I don't know at all, it's the first time I'm meeting them, I've owned my fear, I've prepared and everything, but I'm just a bit nervous before my delivery. What are some practical things that I can do to overcome that little fear? Because sometimes they come from time to time. So how do you overcome such a feeling before you get to meet an unknown audience, even though you know you have prepared well ahead of time?
Thank you for that. That's a very insightful question, and thank you for it. So let's assume you're prepared. You've done your research, you know what you want to speak about, you have all your points, and you're confident about it. And then it's an audience, so it's a completely strange audience. You've never addressed this kind of audience before. I would say, and that's what most speakers do, that seem to have worked for them. So this is on the assumption that you have the confidence to engage the audience, right? Some people will practice some relaxation, do some relaxation moves, just like deep breaths before you take that stage. You can start with an icebreaker. You can start asking a question. Because when you start with an icebreaker, you know what it does? It helps lighten the mood and places you on the same, almost the same level with the audience. So people are relaxed, because the truth is, even your audience are tense because they don't know you. They don't know how you're going to come across to them. They don't know what you're going to speak about, how you're going to speak about it, because you are the only person that knows what you want to speak about. So when you admit those audience, you can start with an icebreaker, or you can ask a question. Some people would make a joke about their anxiety. Like, oh, wow, beautiful people. Some seconds ago, I was jittering. I didn't know how to address you, how to face you. Some people will chuckle, some will laugh. But you know what you've done? You've calmed them down. At the same time, you've calmed yourself down. So something you can do. And one thing also that I think is you need to be able to be, you have to be flexible. And being flexible goes hand in hand with knowing your content in and out. It goes with practice. Being flexible will help you adapt your message or your speech to your audience. So if you're speaking to an audience and maybe you're speaking and let me just use a very practical example. So you've prepared and they've told you, oh, you're going to speak to an audience. Maybe they've given you the details and say, oh, you're speaking to youths. And you know when you say youths, that's broad. Because youths can range from maybe someone who's 18 to someone who's 40, 45. But the truth is, the interest of this age band differs. Because what would interest a 20-year-old might not interest a 30, 40-year-old. and you've crafted your material to work, perhaps suits, maybe the 30-year-old, 40-year-old, because you said youth, or you've prepared it to suit maybe the 20, 30-year-old. And then you come and you're meeting young professionals who are youths, but these are professionals. If you're not able to be flexible, you find out that you're presenting, but you're losing them. But if you're flexible and you notice that, okay, so my content does not suit this audience, you can then tweak it. So it's the same message, but you're then probably now using examples that they can relate to. You're using scenarios that will make sense to them. That's you being flexible. You can ask questions and listen to them. Listen, because the truth is, most times we don't listen. And Toastmasters has there's this project in Pathways, active listening. It's very important for a public speaker, because research has shown that an average human listens or hears to respond, not to understand. If you listen to your audience, either by their verbal responses or their body language, then you're able to get the message that they're passing across to you, and you can adjust your speech, you can adjust your presentation to suit them. That way, you're relaxed and your audience is relaxed. But don't forget that the way you come across your audience, they are strange to you. You are also strange to them. So you're all in that journey of being tense and wondering, how do I deal with this person? If you understand that, then you're able to get across to them.
Thank you so much, DTM GD. All right. I see a hand up. Martina Boatin. You can go for it.
Hello, good evening. Please, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. So I just quickly wanted to share my experience. So way back before I joined Toastmasters, I remember I was leading a team to do a presentation, and all of us, we decided that I was going to be the only. I remember I practiced all our colleagues. I don't know what happened. I just forgot. So before I started, forgot what I had to say, and I don't know where I got the courage. I just ended by handing over to a colleague that, okay, on this note, I hand over to this person. Meanwhile, we've all decided that I was the only one going to give a speech. So even though I put the others on the spot, which I felt very bad, I don't know, it just came naturally that I was blank. I didn't know what to say. So I just wanted to add this and share my experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martina. Do we have any other person? Okay. I don't see any message in the chat either. At this point in time, I would like to say thank you to everyone for joining us this evening, and a very big thank you to you, DTM Chidi. We've really had an insightful session this evening. I'm now going to hand over to our PQD for Division G, Toastmaster Ajua Odum. Over to you.
Adjoa, you on the call?
Yes, please, I am on the call.
Perpetual, hand it over to you.
Oh no, she's supposed to hand over to the proposal of Roxanne. She's proposing the toast.
Okay, that's fine. So Toastmaster Roxanne Ojo, if you are on. I'll hand over to you now to go ahead with the proposal of the toast.
I think she just left. She was on, but she just left. Let me try and get her.
Okay.
Tia Mavis, this evening we haven't heard your voice. Can you help us with the proposal of toast so that we depart, please? Hello, Mavis. Okay. Mavis says that she's having a network challenge. So I would like to ask if anybody on this call would volunteer to propose a toast to us this evening. Anybody who hasn't spoken, please.
Can we all show our videos? Can we be kind enough to show our videos? Take a glass, put in even water or your favorite drink. As we propose a toast, I did myself. The rest of you, you must show your video. Raise your glass. I can't see our videos. I can't see the glasses. Hello. So this is to DTM Chidi for a very insightful section. We've been told to face our fears. We've been told to take it one step at a time. And so to every Toastmaster gathered in here on the call, to all Toastmasters gathered far and near, we say, this is to facing our fears. Cheers. Thank you very much. Though I can see your faces. And I can see your glasses as well. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Division Director for Division G, Dr. Loretta. Thank you all for coming, and I hand over. Thank you, Perpetual, for moderating this session. You did beautifully. DTM Chidi, on behalf of Division G Ghana Toastmasters, we want to say thank you so much for taking time off your already busy schedule to come and share the wisdom of nuggets with us. In our local parlance, we'll say that the sound of the cock roosting tomorrow morning is our way of saying thank you. So DTM Chidi, when you wake up tomorrow morning, when you hear the first sound of the cock roosting, that will be Division G Ghana Toastmasters saying thank you. Mavis, over to you for any announcements.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Adjoa, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now, ma'am.
Thank you. Sorry, I was having a network challenge because of the rain. I think we are done, right?
Yeah, I think we've
Right.
proposed,
Thank
Dr.
you,
Loretta has proposed the
everyone.
toast and everything.
Oh, okay. So sorry about that.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Division G. So grateful. Dr. Chidi, my own person, Dr. Loretta, PQD Ajua, Perpetua, Roxanne, everybody who supported one way or the other. We are so grateful. Hope to see you same time next week. Have a blessed evening. Bye for now.